All right, another Pro Football Doc Podcast. Tail end of week 3, Monday Night Football not played yet, but headed into week 4. Already lots of actionable injury issues and movements, etc. And here we go. Lots to talk about this week. I mean, look, I got to say this. I'm glad it worked out because I'm not a gambler, but I felt like a little bit of a, I don't know what. I felt like I was on an island saying, Miami, Buffalo's injured, right? I mean, by the eyeball test, Buffalo 20-point margins, right? And they lost, but it's injuries. I mean, and they had them, right? Mm-hmm. And they may have some more even, but we'll get to all of that. I just feel like, and the other one this week that I was like, gosh, losing sleep over. Really? Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, and we're saying under? Mm-hmm. I mean, that, and it was a low total too, right?
I was watching the preview for that game too, and Greg Olsen was talking about there's going to be fireworks tonight. So I was getting scared because, like you said, you got the two best quarterbacks we've seen in the last couple of years.
Well, they got their talking point. Right? They're not going to say, oh, well, they're going to complete 18 passes each or 15 passes each. That's not what they're saying, hyping up the game.
Trust the process, right?
Two cases that injuries matter. But I was like, man, I mean, I'm supposed to be kind of a football guy. This is like so against the grain. You got Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and you're going under, what was it, low 40s, 42 or something, right? I mean, that's craziness.
It was 41 and a half, yeah.
41 and a half. Yeah. And I mean, looking back, I mean, Bills crushed the Rams. They crushed the Titans, right? The Super Bowl champ and the AFC #1 seed in back-to-back weeks. But anyways, we'll see. All right, what you got this week, Jacob?
Well, sticking to that game, everyone's talking about Tua. We did a video breakdown. It's done pretty well. You guys can check it out on YouTube or the Six Score website. Lot to make of that. There's the push from Matt Milano, slammed his head after the game. The team actually said head questionable to return, went into halftime, and then he comes out for the second half with his helmet, plays the whole second half, and then after the game they talk about the back hyperextension that it might have happened on the sneak. Well, they said it happened on the sneak, and then it tightened up, and that led to the wobble. I think everyone's just scratching their head. Everyone wants to
here's
point collusion.
Here's the thing. We made what I think was it was a one-shot, no editing video in game, in the command center, games going on.
Live action, yeah.
Live action, one shot. And I actually do encourage people to go look at that. And I'd love to hear from you on Twitter or otherwise, or in the YouTube comments, what you think. What we presented was basically, here are the facts, you decide. And you kind of summarized it a little bit. I mean, basically, what I said was, look, I said if that looks like a visible sign of concussion, and even if he clears the protocol, he's out, period, end of story. And so you can put that in the wrongs, but I'll be proud of that wrong. I mean, by all looks, by video, and that's maybe why video is not 100%, that looked, I mean, he grabbed his helmet. He shook his head.
Yep.
It seemed like he was off balance, not stiff. I mean,
his teammate had to hold him up.
His team tweeted head injury evaluation. Doesn't mean he had one. I mean, he was actually put in the protocol, so that's explainable. Mike McDaniel said the whole team thought it was his head. Yep. And then it comes back. We broke down the play. And you go to the YouTube video to see it. He did in the first quarter get bent backwards. That was pretty significant. I could see how he could be sore from that. It's possible that it locks up. So I gave the big explanation. You guys saw it all. Are you buying it? I mean, the NFLPA is investigating.
Yeah.
Are you buying it?
No, not at all.
I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I mean, the NFL obviously doesn't have a lot of trust when it comes to concussions, but the back is an interesting wrinkle of it. I don't think maybe is the reason that he wasn't 100% stable. I mean, he didn't exhibit symptoms in the locker room, or else they wouldn't let him come back out. I mean, that's not just the team that decides that.
Okay, here's my further take on it. Look, I get why everyone is suspicious of the NFL. I get why the NFLPA says, let's do an investigation. I get it. You don't hear Tua saying, let's do an investigation.
Right.
Here's the other thing. The NFL routinely investigates. routinely there's calls from.
And they don't always announce it like they did.
Oh
with the
no,
Tua.
yeah. I mean, they used to call myself or the primary care doctor and the head athletic trainer. What happened here? This, that, the other, and get all the different stories and make sure it jives, just to keep an eye on the process and talk to the independent neuro, the red hat. And that's the thing everyone's forgetting. The red hat is unaffiliated. Okay, it was a Miami home game, so you can theorize, they're in collusion too. But really, if it's a head injury and they put him back in the game, are you willing as a doctor to lose your house over this?
He doesn't care about week 3 against the Bills.
I mean, look, even the team doctor, are you going to cheat the system? I think no. That's just too much at stake. You get one whistleblower, Tua's dad convinces him to change his mind and or Tua's dad said, well, Tua told me, the doctor told him to just play done. Mm-hmm. Your career's done. I just don't see that happen. Look, I believe in the Hippocratic Oath. I think doctors and medical staff do abide by it, but I get the conspiracy thoughts and theories. I just think it's unfathomable that a doctor or independent neuro or medical staff member would spearhead a conspiracy to do so.
That's why I don't think also anything's going to really happen with the investigation, right? Like you said, the conclusion team and the independent doctors both agreed. So I don't know if there's going to be much that comes out of it, right?
Sure. And the other thing is, look, COVID has sort of blunted this concussion. Otherwise it would be just unbelievable blown up, right? But we do remember Michael Vick dirt in the eye with the early concussion protocol. Cam Newton went down, almost went to one knee as he came to the sideline. So we do have some of those instances where they said no concussion because there was another reason. And let's go back to Julian Edelman at Super Bowl 49 against the Seahawks in Arizona. I remember that clearly. That was one of the first games I had a in-game media pass. Now I was in the auxiliary press box, which is section 500, and I rented $20 binoculars, and I did not have TV replay. But I remember very clearly a couple things about that game. One, by the way, was Seahawks secondary, Jeremy Lane intercepted a ball, and I said, I think he tore his ACL. And that was just live in-game watching from binoculars. I didn't have TV replay, just Jumbotron replay. I wasn't not in the official press box, auxiliary box. And everyone's laughing at me saying, oh, he broke his arm. Look at these Twitter pictures. Oh, well, I didn't see that from my seat. 3 weeks later, they said, oh, yeah, he tore his ACL in the same play.
No one thought of option C, both, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm in section 500. But anyways, from there, little desk computer. And I remember saying Dave Burkett, when Julian Edelman went down, Detroit Lions beat reporter, tweeting out, I happen to be sitting next to or within earshot of the eye in the sky. They're calling down to check on Edelman. I didn't see the Edelman hit. I mean, I'm in section 5. And I know Edelman got up and ran down the field. And my binoculars went to Edelman, to the sideline Chargers team physician, the Patriots. The Patriots team physician, the Patriots head athletic trainer. And I saw that they moved to the edge of the white. And as it was a no huddle offense, back then there was no medical timeout. You could call that medical timeout rule the Edelman rule.
Right.
Now the eye in the sky, the referee, or the doctor could call a medical timeout. Then there was no power to call a medical timeout. And really, do you think a team doctor can say, hey, the dude in the sky buzzed down, coach, I'm going to run on the field and cost us the timeout?
Right.
That's not happening,
Yeah.
right? And the dude in the box is saying, look, I see something. You got to go check him.
Right.
So 6 or 7 play drive, they score a touchdown. I watch Edelman come off the field. The head team physician and the head athletic trainer for the Patriots meet him at about the 15, 20-yard line, go onto the field when the play's in. Walk him over, they examine him, they look at the video, they talk to him again, and sure enough, he returns the next punt. It was a 3-and-out, and he got cleared. Look, I'm not trying to call out Julian Edelman, and I'll bet you on one of the podcasts that he appears, he will ultimately admit this. he got up and ran it off because he didn't want people to come on the field. Okay. I mean, so look, here's my take on the Tua thing. Is it possible that it is 100% above board and he had back spasm? I think we have to say it's possible. Probable? Okay. Is it possible that the team doctors are in cahoots with the red hat and came up with a conspiracy to put him back in the game? I would say impossible. I wouldn't put
There's too many.
That's not even a lottery ticket in my mind. But what's likely, and I'm not trying to call out Tua, I'm saying he wants to play. He's a baller. He said, yeah, it was just my back, because his back did hurt.
We saw the play. We looked at it and everything.
There's no question. And so he's, it was my back. And he passed the concussion tests.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that was just my back, doc. And convinced him.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning I chatted with Rich Gannon on this theory. And Rich said, yeah, I've done that before. I've lied. I mean, I've spun the story.
Right.
I think that's where the truth is going to be.
Right.
It's not going to be this, look, if the NFL, if the Miami Dolphins had, look, Miami's been in enough trouble. And look, there's no way ownership called down that quickly and said, you got to keep him in the game.
Right.
And even so, the doctor would say, no way, I'm not putting my career on the line for you.
Mm-hmm.
He would be fired. Look, Johnny Uribe's the head orthopedist there. He's the head team doctor. He's a great guy. He's a good surgeon. Passed the balance test, which obviously he did. And but without an excuse for the visual signs, he would have to come out of the game anyways.
Yeah.
But he provided an excuse. And now, could you tell me that the independent doctor or the team doctor went, I don't believe the story 100%, but it's plausible and he did pass his tests. So we're going to, the first thing I always do is trust the patient. And so they trusted the patient, even though they had some slight skepticism. That's maybe possible. I don't want to speak for the doctors.
Well, there's another concussion issue that happened this week too with T. Higgins, right? He had the week 1 concussion, and I was one too. You said I thought he was going to come back. That would be 2 and 3 weeks, right? And so,
well, he got jacked under the jaw, which is a big concussion thing.
The head bounced,
and then head bounced off he had a double impact in that one play.
Yeah.
This is why you don't judge concussions by video. Sometimes a little nothing knock has symptoms and prolonged, and sometimes the you got jacked hit has
get right back
nothing.
up. Yeah.
That was a you got jacked, and it was nothing apparently. And we didn't hear.
But before COVID, he might have been maybe sat for the rest of the game.
I'm going to make an early nomination right now that's a beast of the week. Justin will play that video at the end. We talk about this.
That was like last week with Penn State guy. Yeah.
He got jacked on this hit. And if you took an immediate vote, is he coming back? I think 95% of the room would say no.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And that hit was way worse than Tua's.
Right.
Tua was a push and then he slammed his head on the ground. And it was grass. It wasn't artificial turf. Maybe it's a little softer. Who knows? Anyways, Don't mean to belabor the point on concussions, but does that make sense? Like, I get your skepticism, but I think there's
a meet in the middle.
Missing link is Tua wanted to play. I'm not, look, Rich Gannon admitted he's lied before. I think Julian Edelman spun what's happened. I've been there before. And I've said to players, you sure? And they stick to their story, so.
This is a lot. I just got one more question because they played Thursday, Miami against Cincy. So if either one of those players comes back with a headache in the next 2 days, does that mean any part of the concussion protocol was wrong?
Not necessarily. That would be the lay opinion. You guys screwed up. But it is completely defensible and normal
to get stuff later.
That someone, that has no symptoms whatsoever and get later symptoms. Now, would they have screwed up? I would say not necessarily. Would they have, in retrospect, made the wrong decision? Absolutely. I mean, did Nathaniel Hackett make the wrong decision on that 64-yard field goal? Absolutely.
Well, that just happened this year. Wide receiver for the Colts, Alec Pierce. He got jacked up in the middle of the game. He came back in the game. Monday, he came into the facility and said, I have headache, I have symptoms. And then he missed a week with that. So, I mean, it happens, right?
It does happen. So that's not wrong. That's not a failure of the concussion protocol. Someone can test positive. That's why it's index of suspicion. You're supposed to rule people out if there's a question.
Okay.
But if there's no question the day of and you let them back in, they develop symptoms the next day.
Yeah.
It does happen. And so that necessarily wouldn't be, smoking gun. They cheated on Tua. As long as he really passed the concussion protocol legitimately.
Well, McDaniel said today, too, they're looking at his back and his ankle that felt sore, and they're getting more tests and the availability for Thursday, because he's never done a short turnaround as a coach before, he said. So,
I don't know how hot it was down there. And look, I've seen the stuff, right? Oh, Hard Rock Stadium was designed with,
it's still,
look,
Florida.
Look, old Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, our backs were to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you gonna not make it like that?
Look, and believe it or not, most football fields are aligned east-west.
Right.
Okay. Just like baseball diamonds are aligned for shadows and things, right? Because they don't want sun in the pitcher or even the batter's eyes, right? They're
No Mother Nature interfering. Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we dumb? Even if you didn't design the building that way and you thought you were going to have the Dolphins on one side, you'd change it, right?
Yeah.
There's no rule. You can't change it. And it was hot clearly. And a lot of Buffalo players, one left with heat illness. There were a bunch that had cramps, but even some Dolphins players had cramping issues. That obviously was a beast of a game. I'm a little worried about the Dolphins' overall effect here. It's a
short
Thursday
week,
game, and they have to travel
to Cincy.
So
that's a good point.
That's medical based. Yep.
I'm just saying, keep an eye on that. That's real. Okay?
Hint. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, let's jump to coach speak. Just summary for people. We're kind of breaking down the read between the lines and the coach press conferences. Mac Jones, we can talk about a little bit later, but Bill Belichick always comes with a no update on anything big like that. So
Bill gets a bad rap here. Bill doesn't do coach speak. He does no speak.
Yeah, he avoids it entirely.
He does no speak. Okay. So he ain't spinning the coach speak. He just doesn't say anything. There were no updates on Mac Jones. Okay. We fully expect Mac Jones to hit injured reserve. We said in game, and there's another YouTube video of in game high ankle sprain, significant one.
Right. Tom Pelissaro reported this morning a severe ankle sprain. Yep.
Probably no surgery. But either way, this cat's going on IR. Okay, he's not a mobile quarterback, but he's going on IR. If he were a wide receiver or running back, he might be half the season or more. But as a quarterback, he's still going to be 4 weeks. They have to be tremendously lucky to not go on IR.
So, speaking of Tua, I know you remember in Alabama they do the tightrope thing. Is this something? And you always say the NFL they don't really do that as much.
That's an interesting angle because he's an Alabama quarterback.
Yeah. So
it's true.
Yeah.
Look, when you do that surgery, in my opinion, you're doing it. Hey, you're going to miss 4 weeks anyway, so let's just put that in because it's not a big surgery and it's not going to hurt you.
Right.
Maybe it helps you. I don't know. Remember Tua, and we talked about this before, when he had that surgery, he did not limp off the field.
Right.
He continued to play through, and then post-game they said, we're putting in a tightrope.
Because you didn't even think it was that severe. Like, this is a much more severe one than the Tua.
At least Mac Jones didn't put any weight on it.
Right.
Tua finished the game.
Right.
Go back and look at all the stuff that we said in the writings on Tua for that national championship game.
Right.
It was okay. It was a short time window from the SEC game to the bowl game, but he finished the game. Yeah, who can finish the game and need surgery? I just don't understand that. Yeah. But look, I'm not poo-pooing the surgery. It doesn't hurt. the rules first do no harm. It's not one that's commonly done in the NFL. It's done in Alabama a lot. Yeah. I'm not impugning anyone. I'm just saying there are regional differences. Look, in San Diego here, we love fish tacos. I don't think that goes anywhere else around the country. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
So jump to a quarterback issue that's going to continue to be a story week after week. Brandon Staley, when Justin Herbert
Coach
initially
speak.
suffered the rib injury. Said, the fractured cartilage is better than a bone fracture because I don't know if he gave a reasoning. He just said it was better.
I go one further back on Brand. Like, I try to be fair. I actually don't know Brandon Staley. I mean, I'm not with the Chargers team anymore. I just try and speak the truth. I try to be respectful of all coaches. You've heard me talk about John Harbaugh next, okay, and Dobbins, but okay. But Brandon Staley. So I'm not hating on any coach. I'm just trying to interpret coach speak. For example, in game, we said ribs, Justin Herbert in that Thursday Chiefs game. And we even said rib cartilage. Okay, we didn't use the word rib fracture, cartilage fracture, but we said rib cartilage injury. Post game, Brandon Staley said, yeah, we're not too sure. Something with his abdomen and this, that, the other. Maybe ribs. I don't know. Look, was it abdominal? Yeah. Rectus abdominis, abdominal muscles do attach to the rib cartilage. He ain't lying, but it is coach speak, right? And then the next one he came out with rib cartilage. That's a good thing because that's better than bone.
And you've been saying the opposite in the room the whole time. So when I saw that, I was just like,
well, let's be fair to Coach Staley. Rib fractures are more painful, more risk for lung issue. Rib cartilage, less risk for lung issue. I mean, they flew home from Kansas City. You wouldn't fly if there was a lung issue. But rib fractures heal more quickly because of blood supply. Rib cartilage fractures don't. It's the difference between a paper cut that doesn't bleed versus cutting yourself shaving. That cut goes away really quickly. The blood, the bleeding. You ever bite your tongue or your lip? See how fast that heals?
Yep.
I mean, very vascular.
Yep.
Same with the bone. And we talked about it last week. The key is now, Brandon Staley says, I don't want to get the quote wrong, but something effective. This isn't over. Okay, so how can it be better than ribs, but this isn't over as he foreshadows into next week? Clearly, we all saw that, look, you can put this in a right and wrong. I was right. I said, Justin Herbert's going to play. He's going to get an injection and play. I assume he got an injection. But he clearly was still hurting. I mean, the rib block injections in my time, you actually just, because it's a block, you're completely numb, but not sure. But clearly he's grimacing and he wasn't himself.
Yeah, we looked back through the video and he looked pretty stiff on throws. I mean, there was the one sack play where he kind of just gave it the ball. Yeah, that's not Justin Herbert.
That's not Justin Herbert. But what is Justin Herbert? And kudos to him. He was playing through pain. And you can argue, was it smart? Is it dumb? And should Brandon Staley have pulled him out? You're down 4 touchdowns with 4 minutes to go and you put him back in the game. He wanted to be with his boys.
Teammates, that's what he said.
Okay, but like, I don't know.
You got to save him from himself at that point, right?
And by the way, there was no left tackle.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to mention that too. They have quarterback injury. Their all-pro center has a knee injury he missed last week. Slater's out for the season. Keenan Allen,
that just came up, right?
Yes.
Have they announced? Have they not announced surgery yet?
We haven't gotten full details on the bicep yet, but
I believe it's probably distal, and they're saying out for the season. I believe he will end up with surgery, but if the Chargers go to the playoffs, he could come back.
Okay, that's huge. Yeah.
We're not there yet, but that's the belief on Rashawn Slater.
Just to finish the list too, Keenan Allen missed the last 2 weeks with his hamstring. He might be another week healthier. And then on going to defense, you got Joey Bosa with the groin, and Jackson hasn't responded through his ankle surgery.
Joey Bosa's not playing this week.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, edge rusher with the groin. Joey Bosa's not playing this
Hard to get around the corner. Yeah,
he's not playing.
Jackson was doubtful this week with the ankle. I mean,
maybe he gets the question. He played that Kansas City game, which surprised us.
So do you think if he didn't play that week, he would have been ready for week 3, or was just forcing him into that Thursday primetime game?
I don't know. I mean, he probably wanted to go. He thought he could go. He didn't do that well that Thursday. So I was wrong. I didn't think he'd play on that Thursday. So I was wrong.
Yeah.
But in the end, maybe right. He shouldn't have. I don't know. I'm not second guessing. Like, it's hard to say. I mean, we talked about the os trigonum. It's much more than skin issue. So the Chargers got some issues there. And their center too.
Yeah, the center. As I said, all pro. He had a knee injury. He was missed last week. Yeah. So
and the only best news is they get Houston, but then they had Jacksonville.
What was your big question that you had about Herbert? Like, should you put him out there with so many issues on the offensive line?
Well, if I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't play quarterback growing up, but if my left tackle, my all-pro left tackle's not in and my ribs are hurting, I'm turning my back to that side and not knowing what I'm getting on there.
I stole your line, Jacob. I'm sorry.
No, Jacob just softened it.
Yeah,
I
I
did.
know. I stole
Before we started the podcast, Jacob said,
I'm not playing.
If it's my left tackle's out there, I'm not playing. And I said, save it for the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what my response to that? I get it. And you're not Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is going to play.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why you're not Justin. Well,
Yeah.
one of maybe several reasons.
Yeah.
I got a price point. You know, we could talk about it with the agent.
I mean, Justin Herbert's going to play.
Yep.
Okay. Now, here's the other hidden thing. And we talked about it. Don't forget this. Yes, he was still hurting. He wasn't 100% effective because of the rib. But don't look, Justin Herbert's awesome. I think he's a top guy. But he's still young.
Mm-hmm.
I think he still needs to practice. And he didn't really practice.
I got one limited practice Thursday, and they said the injection or whatever they did wasn't very effective. He still felt it a lot. So,
and limited means one snap, one play, or run handoffs. Doesn't mean the timing. Like, there are different plays week to week, different situations,
Defensive installs,
different looks that the defense gives you. Justin Herbert's great, but I don't think he's Tom Brady. He's not a guy that cannot practice and be 100% fine. I mean, and like we said last week before, and there were people saying, oh, he's got 10 days before the week 3 game. And so, I mean,
it's not going to heal in 10 days.
This is going 4-6 weeks. It'll be November before he forgets about this. So, I mean,
that's a big one to follow.
No, every week he can be a tiny bit better. I'll give you that. But it will be November before it's like, oh my God, completely behind him. That's just the way that it is. And of course, depends on how many time he gets hit in the game. You're picking at the scab. It's a bigger deal.
Mm-hmm.
So Houston, I mean, we'll see. But here's the thing. This is the NFL. No offense. You don't have Alabama, Georgia's, your school, and then San Diego State. I mean, there's just a talent difference.
For sure.
Okay.
Right.
You have Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Okay, there and Tennessee and LSU. There may be some differences, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not drastic. Yeah.
I mean, the worst team in the league can beat the best team in the league on any given day. The worst team in college football cannot beat the best team in college football.
Nope.
There's too much talent difference. This is the NFL.
Yep.
They're talented. I mean, that's why you can't look past Jacksonville. You can't look past Houston. It's not that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got another coach speak tracking Zach Wilson's return from that meniscus and bone bruise. Robert Saleh saying he's our franchise quarterback, but only the doctors can clear him and get him back on the field.
Well, you've heard it from me before. First of all, that's coach speak, right? I mean, we talked about Robert Saleh. Like, remember week 1, he said, yeah, we'll see how Zach Wilson's doing. He's doing pretty well. And then the next day he flipped and said, I'm tired of the questions.
Week 4.
He's week 4. He's out until October at least. I'm tired of the questions. Right. But he has been honest.
Mm-hmm.
And the most honest thing he said is, when we talked about it on a previous podcast, this is the worst timing possible for Zach Wilson. What? Week 1 game, week 1 preseason game. To me, the worst timing possible is middle of the season or week 1 of the season, first play, right? What he's saying is he's losing all these practice reps. And that's why they have to be slower.
He's only a second-year quarterback, right?
Yeah.
He's just learning. Yeah.
And so Joe Flacco won a game. I mean,
We'll
this
see.
week.
285 yards and 2 picks, but they threw him 52 times. I don't know if they're
They were
making Zach Wilson throw 52 times.
Yeah, but that was also
game script.
That was also game script garbage time, right? I mean, the Bengals are up quite a bit and they were chasing, so Joe had to throw, and okay, he got some yards, garbage time yards, points, whatever you want to call it. Zach Wilson, yeah, maybe he plays this week. But I think the lack of practice will be a bigger factor than his knee.
Mm-hmm. Flacco's like 4th in the league in passing yards, so he's still there.
They're also behind
Statistically,
a fair bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I can cite you a lot of examples, not off the top of my head, but NBA players that score a shit ton of points, but their team isn't worth a darn
Yep.
because they got no one around
Yep.
them. I mean,
Yep.
right? I mean, I'm not impugning Joe Flacco. I mean, like that's just stats.
Yeah.
I mean, that can be.
I'm a Sixers fan. I watched that for years with Allen Iverson. We were winning 20 games a year, but he was like, "Oh, I got 40 points every
He
game."
got
I'm like,
scoring
"It's not
title. Yep.
helping." Yeah.
Yeah,
Fun to
so-
watch, but not how.
Yeah, whatever.
Last one, real quick. You called out in the Thursday game. Anthony Walker Jr. done for the year with the torn quad extensor tendon that
I
you
thought it was
called
a
in
knee
game by
sprain.
video.
Are you sure it was a knee sprain?
Yeah, after the game, Stefanski gets on and says, "Oh, he's got a knee sprain."
Well, thankfully we're on the West Coast, right? So we actually stay up to see the coach's comments.
Correct.
I can't imagine staying up on the East Coast to midnight just to hear the head coach say knee sprain. Dude, are you calling your doctors idiots? You took him on a cart and put him in an air cast. I mean, come on. But technically he's
Technically,
correct.
it is a sprain. Yeah.
Grade 3 complete tear. It
Yeah.
is a sprain. I mean, so he didn't lie. It's coach speak.
He's a wordsmith,
very,
right? Yeah.
very okay. It's coach speak. I'm not saying coaches lie. I'm saying coach speak. Spin.
Yeah.
So that's a good wrap
PR, yeah,
segment.
yeah.
Didn't mean to go that long on it.
Well, let's get we had a live in-person incident happen, not incident, but our video producer was at the Tampa Bay and Green Bay game and alerted us to something he saw live, which was that when Tampa Bay was trying to tie up the game, they scored the late touchdown and they're going for 2-point. They get the delay game, and then on the Jumbotron, there's the surface view, the tablet view of the play that they're going to run.
Now, wait a minute, Justin. NFL Sunday and you took off.
No one
What the heck?
sanctioned that.
Yeah, so I appreciate you cutting me loose for yesterday, obviously, but I was able to go see. I was a lifelong Packers fan, and I had family in right around the Tampa area, so I'm actually at my mom's right now.
The only excuse, otherwise, we're cutting your pay. And the only excuse, you better show me a picture with a cheese head on.
Oh, okay.
At
So
the game.
funny. Yeah, my dad has a cheese head. We didn't bring it though because when we picked
You're
it up,
asking a
it
video
was
producer to do that. He
deteriorating.
could easily Photoshop
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, I could Photoshop it.
Yeah.
That would have been melted cheese yesterday.
I can take it. I would take it.
Yeah.
I would take it. I mean,
Yeah, but the incident yesterday, I wound up seeing it online. But Aaron Rodgers came out after the game and said that he noticed something on the Jumbotron that he wound up he said he wound up relaying that information. That was all he wanted to say. He didn't really
He said he
elaborate
ran to
on
the
it.
coaches. Yeah, ran to the
Yeah.
coaches.
So what I saw, because I was fortunate enough, we were on the visitors sideline. I don't know how they took the delay of game in the first place, the Buccaneers on the delay of game on a 2-point conversion. But in reality, I was at the stadium. The play before on the touchdown, that should have also been a delay of game. But watching that, but that's neither here nor there. But after they took the delay of the game, they pushed the ball back to the 7-yard line. All of a sudden, we see a player come scooting real quick down the sideline, down to where the coaches are at the end of the coaches box, and it wound up being Aaron Rodgers. And I'm like, that's weird. Why is he moving like that? Why is he moving so fast? And turns out he saw something on the Jumbotron. Apparently, they had I wasn't looking at it. I was trying to watch what was going on, but apparently the camera operator showed a clear image of the surface and the play they were going to run for the 2-point conversion attempt. And Rodgers saw it and must have said something to the coaches. They told it to the defense, and the defense made a great play. So I don't know if there's
First of all, we know what you were watching, Justin. You were watching your hero. Your
Oh, yeah.
eyes were on him.
Aaron Rodgers
Aaron
cam.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never
you
seen
didn't
him
see
move
much
that
else.
fast.
I mean, you're telling me you have a 2-point conversion to tie the game, and you're watching the sideline? No, your eyes were on your hero, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
He's trying to act like he was working while he was
Yeah,
there.
it's like, what
He's
was
a
that?
scout. Yeah.
I just happened to notice something on the sideline and an all-important 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
That's one take on it. The second take I would have on it, wow, there are league conversations. There's internal Tampa conversations.
Absolutely.
That guy, that's never happening again. That's for sure. Assuming that happened.
Is that going to be the third tablet that Brady breaks?
Yeah.
There's going to be no more tablets
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Brady might break the Jumbotron over
Yeah.
that one.
He'll throw the tablet
Okay.
at the Jumbotron.
But here's the thing that I'm not so sure it has as big of effect as anything else. So here's the thing. There are conversations within the building in Tampa. There are conversations at 345 Park Avenue, like how does this happen? Brady wants to break the Jumbotron, not just iPads. But I'm not sure that's that big of a deal because of the 15-second cutoff on the communication helmets.
Mhm.
So, Justin, did you time out how much into the play clock it was before he ran over? I mean, there's logistics going on. Let's say it's a full play clock. Okay. First of all, Brady was on the sideline, whatever, to run over, relay it, have the coach understand what you're saying. Okay, here it is, and relay it in. You're going to get cut off. Maybe they yelled in, hey, like a lot of times on the sideline, watch the screen, water, or whatever they yelled. Maybe they did some of that, but I don't know that that's the only reason they got stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And look, if I were an Aaron Rodgers and I found a secret advantage, I might be quiet about it. I might not say a thing. I will say this, that I know for a fact that Jumbotron's been used before. Against the Washington, then Redskins, so I guess I can say.
Yeah.
Historically, you're allowed to say. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
the Washington team, yeah.
Yeah.
LT told me once he ran on a breakaway, and I said, and I noticed he looked up, and I said, what are you doing there when you scored that long touchdown? I looked at the Jumbotron to see if anyone was coming behind me and whether it was on my right or my left, so that I would know to cut the other way, because I didn't want to turn around and that would slow me down.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the Jumbotron was positioned there in Washington, you could look straight up at the end zone and see who's behind him. And there was nobody behind him. But I just noticed that he looked up, and I was like, what was that all about?
Yeah.
Right? So Jumbotrons have played a role before.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Not a lot of people can say they've seen a live replay of them breaking a 80-yard touchdown or whatever it was.
Well,
I mean,
I'm
hockey,
jealous.
I've seen them do that. The players, it's when there's a scrum and they're trying to see if the goal crosses the line, the best view is the Jumbotron. So you see all the players look up, right.
No, but that's not in real time.
Yeah.
Look at it.
They watch the replay, yeah.
LT's got the ball in his hand. He's running down the field, and he glances up at the Jumbotron to see which way he got to go. That's a different story.
Yeah, you're right.
Look, every player is looking at the challenge replay to see if it's a catch or touchdown or not, if you got 2 feet in. Every player's
better picture,
or a lot of players are doing that. But I mean, this is live play, and he's looking at with the Jumbotron. It's like, I was like, that's pretty interesting. But it was positioned where, I mean, his eyes weren't down the field. He had to look up. That's what I noticed. It's not like he looked back. He just didn't want to turn around and potentially slow down as a result of turning around.
That's smart. Yeah, we'll jump to rights and wrongs, then we'll get to Beast of the Week. I know Justin's got to escape a hurricane,
I was
going to
say,
Florida, so he's got a flight to catch.
Bucks are talking about maybe discussing plans for hurricane.
Putting you on the spot a little bit, Doc, but which of those three do you think makes it back first? Trent Williams, Mac Jones, or David Montgomery?
Trent Williams. Because he's Trent Williams.
He played through it last year.
He's had that ankle
he's
before.
had it the other side.
Right.
Because he plays in a box. He's not pulling.
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery, whatever, he's got to be a lot more dynamic. And Mac Jones probably has the worst one of the three.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not just saying because he hopped off the field.
Right.
I always say don't judge the reaction to the injury, judge the injury. We're judging the video of the injury versus Trent Williams.
That was a severe high ankle sprain.
Versus David Montgomery. So I think it goes Trent Williams, David Montgomery, Mac Jones. Do I get a prize? That sounds like a parlay.
We'll track that, yeah.
Does Trent play this week, is what you're saying, or is he missing a game?
I don't think he plays this week.
Played Monday against the Rams, so a little extra day, but not sure that's going to make that much of a difference. Their left tackle position is horrible without him, so obviously they paid a lot of money.
If he plays, he won't be 100%. Maybe he can shoot it up a little bit, this, that, the other.
You can book it. Aaron Donald's going to be on that side of the line if he does play, right?
DeAndre Swift news. Campbell said he'll miss time with a shoulder injury and might benefit for having time off and healing up after the bye, because he'll sit out until week 6 bye would mean he misses 2 games, Seahawks and Patriots.
That's one we didn't really see. We'll go back on video and see how long. But, Dan Campbell.
He's pretty straightforward. I think he's newer, so we're trying to understand. But
he has a whole different kind of coach speak, right? Biting off kneecaps and my coffee and this. I mean,
it's him though, which is good, right? That's who he is.
I mean, his coach speak might be opposite. He's stream of consciousness,
right?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I mean, you heard me.
Anything.
I said, I hope that guy succeeds.
Yeah,
I love.
Absolutely.
I mean, in the first year, I was like, I hope this guy succeeds. I mean, he's a quote machine.
His first press conference, you're like,
what I always tell you. Any coaching style can work whether you're a hard ass or a player's coach or rah-rah or off the deep end stream of consciousness like Dan Campbell, you have to be authentic.
Right.
And I think Dan Campbell is authentic. That's him. What gets you more in trouble is, and I'm glad Robert Saleh said, I'm tired of like messing with it, because he's not a coach speak guy by nature. I'm tired of messing with Zach Wilson. I'll just give it to you. I'm done with it.
Yeah,
I want to be, I think that's better. Just be yourself, right? I think in all life, just be yourself.
No, I think you're right.
I want to get to one of the wrongs. We had an article Saturday saying Josh Jacobs unlikely to play, didn't travel, then all of a sudden did travel with the illness.
Yeah, well, here's where I was like saying, look, it's unusual not to travel like that. The Patriots during COVID famously, flew a separate plane. The owner, look, team plane, charter, and owners' planes, right? Most owners have their own planes. Chargers owners did. At one point, they had 2 of their own planes, and typically they wouldn't fly with the team. And they may be flying out on Saturday. They fly on Friday because it's a 3-day game, Tennessee. But Mark Davis flies Southwest. He doesn't have a plane. Now, where we were probably wrong, I was like, wow, I don't think he's going to go out there, because they didn't take him out on the team charter. They don't have a team plane or an owner plane. And then you're going to put him out on Southwest or Frontier or American Airlines. And he couldn't travel on a charter where you could arrange the seats where he could be 3 rows away from everybody, but you're going to put him next to somebody, even in first class. And then, I was like, I don't think he's going to go. I think he's going to get ruled out. But he did go. But here's where I forgot. And then where I'm wrong, I should have been like, they're in Vegas now. They're rolling in money. They got boosters, right? They got,
you said you could contact any book and say,
hey, you want to get a plane. Yeah.
Wouldn't MGM fly their plane out?
They already helped out. What's it called? Devontae Adams' grandparents have a hotel. They're accommodating, right?
They're casino planes. I don't know what kind of plane he flew out on, but it was a private plane.
Right.
And there's people out, Raiders fans with money, and
he played well too. He had 66 yards rushing. He had 31 yards receiving.
Mr. Crazy Raider fan, Taylor here. If you had a plane, you might, and you weren't even going, you might offer up your plane and then fly out with Josh.
Yeah, because I get to tell people I was with Josh Jacobs. That's easy. That's an easy sell. Yeah, for sure.
All right, you're in line for the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
You might need the plane first.
I need a lot.
All right.
Beast of the week. We got a couple nominees. First one, play everyone saw, Jimmy G running out the back of the end zone. Not exactly running out. Not to defend him, but he's stepping backwards. It was heels a couple times, but not as bad as the Dan Orlovsky. And that was Beast of the week is Brady Quinn's response to Dan Orlovsky, because Dan Orlovsky tweeted freedom, that someone else did it and he doesn't have to be the butt of the joke all the time. And Brady Quinn came back, said, dude, you were tap dancing out of the end zone. You didn't stop
3
running.
yards out.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I would say on that. First of all, that is jumping in, Brady Quinn, my good boy. Like, Dan's awesome. I think he's my guy. Dan's
both
awesome.
of them. Yeah.
Brady's awesome. I think it's kind of fun. I don't know Jimmy G personally. I know people through him. I don't know Jimmy G personally. My take was, does this mean he gets a great after career as an ESPN analyst?
That's a trajectory, right?
But look, I would argue, the beast there is Kyle Shanahan, who said, it was my fault. It was he
said I set him up for an
unaccounted player that forced the situation, and I should do a better job as a coach.
That's why they like him.
He's the beast there. Okay. And we see the little tiny friction between Jimmy and Kyle, yet he just went, try to shut it down.
Yep.
Okay.
It's good.
I would argue that Dan Orlovsky's, Jimmy G's was worse than Dan Orlovsky. Oh, by the way,
can you send this to Dan so he can hear this? He's going to want to hear this.
Here's my logic.
Yeah.
But Dan might not like my explanation.
Okay.
First of all, what would Jacob, 49ers fans, be saying if Trey Lance did that?
Oh, if Trey Lance had that, and then the pick at the end of the game, we never hear the end of it.
He's not qualified to be in the NFL.
Yeah. He's running scared out there.
Running scared, right.
All the above, yeah.
In fairness to Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan took some of it, but also he really hasn't practiced. He had no preseason, this, that, the other. But here's why I think Jimmy G's, or I try and give Dan Orlovsky more of a pass. Jimmy G has been a bona fide starting quarterback in the NFL for years.
Yep.
Dan Orlovsky, God love him. He's a smart guy, good player, but he's a backup for a career. And I mean, how many games did he start total? I mean,
Get that, yeah.
so it's worse for Dan because percentage wise, he only played X games and that
and he was
happened.
playing that year because of that Lions team, so
And the other thing is, Dan was escaping pressure laterally.
Right.
You're supposed to know where the line of scrimmage is, the line of gain. You don't go over the line, leave your back toe behind. You're supposed to know where the first down marker is innately. You're supposed to know where the back of the end zone is.
12 games started for Dan.
Now, that's more than I thought. My bad, Dan. But still, Jimmy G has started a lot more games. So, and if you're flushed out to the right and you're running for your life, are you aware if you're going straight lateral or a little yard back?
I wouldn't with the D end bearing down on me.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's not looking down. So, yes, that's how he runs out and he takes 3 steps out of bounds and we see it. But he's looking downfield trying to make a play. So I excuse that more like, is he running straight laterally, a little forward? Or, I mean, Jimmy G just backed up out of bounds.
48 starts for Jimmy, by the way.
And then threw a pick 6 that didn't count. So
Right. But he, like, you knew where you snapped the ball. Mentally, you had to know where you were.
Yep.
Based on experience and just backing straight up out of bounds, as opposed to flushing. I mean, I would say Dan's was not as bad.
Because he was more aware. Yeah.
I never played quarterback. So I'm just saying, I don't think Dan's was as bad. But that Brady comment is a beast. But I give Kyle Shanahan the beast there. The other beast, of course, we talked about T. Higgins. I mean, Justin will run the replay, man. He survived concussion there.
That might be a new segment. We had Clifford last week. You might have to do a new jacked like you did. Bring that back.
I mean, we like doing jacks when you got jacked when they're healthy.
Right.
We don't like
result
you
of
got
injury.
jacked
Yes. Yeah.
and you got making fun of injury. I mean, he finished the game. So
no posturing. We don't want any of that. Just get up. Yeah.
So honorable mention to Kyle Shanahan, but I would have to give it to T. Higgins. But the runner-up, another one you guys mentioned earlier is
the last one we got also safety related is Trent Sherfield, who was the recipient of the butt punt went late in that Dolphins Bills game.
I mean, he's going to be butt of jokes for a while. No, just
there you go. Yeah.
Da-da-da. I mean,
he tweeted after the game that he's got a W tatted on his cheeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good response.
You know, Tyreek said he has strong butt cheeks. Yeah, so.
that's a good response. But like, yeah, obviously, the person there is a special teams coach. You got to practice close quarters.
Right. Talking about know where the back of the end zone is. Yeah.
Well, you can't be at your regular depth.
Right.
That's a shorter distance.
Right.
You don't have the regular depth. The guy probably was at his regular depth and he did what he did every time. And that I get that. Butt punt, whatever,
butt
block,
fumble, yeah.
Butt fumble,
we had
whatever.
another butt fumble with Dalvin Cook, actually.
Oh, Dalvin Cook,
yes,
and then you heard his shoulder. That was a butt fumble too. But the reason why, Dan, by the way, you'll never be forgotten. No one's forgetting Mark Sanchez butt fumble.
Never.
Even this one.
No,
okay?
That was on primetime TV,
right?
as well.
Primetime TV,
Yeah.
but also being first is special, Dan. So you're still going to be remembered.
That's why what's it called? Brady Quinn said you're him still, because like even when during they're describing the play, it was a play like Dan Orlovsky. It wasn't the Jimmy G play, so it's always like I said, it's always the first one, right?
At least it's a club now.
Yes,
but there is a founder.
Yes, he's not free, but now he has company. It's more.
Dan, and the only reason I say that, he is a friend, and I love the way Dan makes fun of himself over that, kind of thing. So
he was on Twitter all night, laughing all up. So it's good. He was enjoying it.
What about Ken Dorsey attacking the iPad?
Oh, that was a good one.
I asked you about that.
Bills
like,
OC.
I don't make fun of. I think that's authentic. I would love my coach should be as mad as I am. If he's like high fiving, like, oh, we called it okay game, I wouldn't like him smiling at all. Like,
okay,
yeah.
But what is he mad at?
Me.
The game
or me?
His play call.
His failures. The quarterback. I mean,
yes,
2 times that game.
Yep.
At the end of the
At the
first
half,
the clock ran out.
Right.
Is he mad at the players on the field? They didn't do what he said. Is he mad at Josh Allen? Is he mad at the circumstance? Is he mad at himself?
Yeah.
Is he just mad that they lost the game at the end of the game? Right.
I think all the above. Yeah.
All the above. But like, I'd want to know. That'd be my question.
Directed it towards.
Where was your anger mostly directed at? Right. Because he was really. But I got to say this: Brady breaks an iPad in one toss. He took like 5 or 6.
Well, they're all
that
papers.
iPad.
I've been mad before. I could see exactly what he's doing. He said anything that's an object that I can like put
Just
down. He
grab
was
it
just
in front of him,
grasping
yeah.
everything. Yeah. So
I think the beast was the person at the end that finally slid in the hand over the camera.
No, I think it got cut off because
Yeah.
of all the
Yeah,
throwing.
I think
It
it
got
was just
detached,
taken off.
you
Yeah.
know, kind of deal. But I think that he probably was mostly mad at himself. I mean,
Yeah.
because he's the guy who takes responsibility. He's the OC.
Yep.
I mean, how do you call plays? How does not? I mean, 2 times that game they ran out.
For sure.
The clock ran out at them at the end of a half.
Right.
All right. Well, Beast of the Week, we got to get going here because and wrap up the podcast. I think it was a good conversation. Hopefully I didn't wax too long or poetic. And Justin, I want to see the cheesehead picture, and you can get on your plane and go back home. And I'm fine if you, Photoshop one or figure it out. I mean, if Manti Te'o's fake girlfriend could get a picture with the numbers and the letter from the quote real picture
That was the
of the
craziest
girl.
part of the doc. Once I saw that, my fiance was even like, "Is he lying now?" Like, because that
I was
or
like,
the
how
girl
did
was
he
like,
do
"How did
that?"
she
I
get
mean-
it?" Yeah, that
I
was
mean,
a good one.
And that was with no video. I was like,
Oh.
that was video editing skills.
Yeah.
No, he went to the source and,
Yep.
and got
Just do this
that.
for me real quick. I was just like, "Wow."
And that's
was
where I
surprised.
also felt for Manti. Obviously, I know, but I was like, that story was great. But I was like, I'm watching the doc and went, what?
You're working
How
against
did you
stuff
do that?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
obviously, this dude was pretty good,
Yeah.
or this dude, girl, guy, whoever
Yep.
it was pretty good at fooling them. I mean, that took some skills. I mean, that's not Justin putting a cheesehead edit on his head. You know, because
Manti thought he found like had a way to like oh, this is the way I can easily find it out, and it
Right.
was easily it was easily they figured it out
They
not
counted
to.
it right
So,
away.
we
yeah.
watching that documentary knew it was a fake girlfriend. Yet
Yep.
I went, whoa. How did he do
He
that?
had to,
Okay.
like, yeah.
Oh, he's got him here. How did he do that? And I'm
Yep.
looking at the TV screen going, Photoshop. How did he
Yeah,
do
no,
that?
it's-
But it was legit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember that. That's right. That's a good.
that was interesting.
Yep.
All right. Pro Football Doc Podcast. Thanks for listening. Sports Injury Central, SIC scores. More. There's going to be a lot happening this week. There's going to be some hints heading in the week if you look at it. And of course, if you want the easy way, go to the sick picks part of what's going on. And I love what we're doing with Jim Rome too. It's that's been fun. All right. Thanks for listening and watching.